Alright, so let's see what came in the mail today. Looks like we have, oh, what's this? Dear friend, I am Lauren, founder of Icewell Tech. Upon receiving this card, please accept my sincere gratitude to you on behalf of Icewell team. This is some nice little logo work here. I love this. And what we have here today is the brand new ZimaBoard. This is a media PC or media server single board computer. We're going to get right into this. Now, most of you who are familiar with this channel are used to me using a single board computer specifically for gaming. We even though this does have the required specs for gaming, we're not going to be doing that here with this server. We will be using this for our Plex and other media related activities. So with this, you can log into your cloud. You have a number of different applications with this. I'm really excited to get into this. This sent this over to me a few days ago. However, I know this is not brand new. It's been on the market now for the past several months. And so we wanted to show it off here to the channel. And I'm glad they did send this over to review. They also asked me what accessories would I love to have included. And so I mentioned this. This will help me get set up here. We have a SATA Y cable. And when we set up our Plex server, I will be using 2 of these Samsung SSDs for demo. Now, I do have several other drives available, but those are locked down right now, and some of my other media servers. But the point and purpose of this is I want to show you guys just how unique this is, why you don't need maybe a Raspberry Pi or some of the other single board computers out there for a media service, and why you should want to go with this, as it does present itself as an additional opportunity for you. It has a lot of features. We're going to quickly go over this. I believe this has somewhere up to about 2.4 gigahertz in processing speed. But again, we will not be doing any form of gaming with this. I know it has many other issues, but this is primarily used as a media server, and I can't wait to get into it. So let's go ahead and check it out and see what type of performance we can get out of this brand new ZimaBoard single board computer. All right, so the company sent me this awesome single board computer to review. However, all the thoughts and everything in this video are of my own. This is the brand new ZimaBoard 832. It is comprised of an N3450 4-core x86 processor. It's based on the Intel Celeron Apollo Lake branch architecture. It has a 1.1 gigahertz base frequency, and it has a burst limit of up to 2.2 bursts with a 2 megabyte L2 cache. The video aspects has an Intel HD Graphics 500. Minimum base frequency is 200 megahertz, and the burst frequency is 700 megahertz. This particular single board computer also has 8 gigabytes of LP DDR4 memory and an eMMC 5.1 32 gigabyte onboard storage. And I believe the internal aspects of it, if you want to hook this up to additional servers or additional drives, it goes all the way up to about 36 terabytes. Now, in terms of storage, it has 2 6.0 gigabyte SATA ports. It also has a Realtek 8111H for LAN connectivity with 2 LAN ports. They're really fast. I've actually did some bench tests on this myself. And we have 2 USB 3.0 slots or ports directly for additional connectivity. We also have 1 PCIe 2.0 port as well if you want to hook up an additional video card. And the display port 1.2 4K operating at 60 hertz. And the DC connector, as far as power, uses a 12 volt 5.5 with a 2.5 millimeter jack on here. So this is the same DC port adapter that you'll find right now on most of your other mini PCs. I have my UE2 X186 and as well as another Intel based mini PC. Most of those are all using the same type of connector. So if you have something of that factor, it's pretty much the same type of adapter. I would just double check and make sure you have the same type of polarities. We have a passive cooling directly on the top. Supports 1080p video as well as decoding up to H.264, H.265, and MPEG to video encoding. And you know, in terms of price, I know right now this thing is valued at around $200, and compared to what you can pretty much get on the market right now as far as an internal server or some of the other servers that are out there on the market, this one is really competitive because it's one of the lower priced servers that you could find right now. Pretty robust, and it's faster than some of the other ones that you would have found on the market several years ago. In fact, I have a media server here in the house, and I bought that one for about maybe $400, so pretty much this one is much faster than the model that I have currently running in the home. Now, as far as your operating systems, you can install Linux, Windows, OpenWRT, Android, and Libra on here. In fact, I did get into some other interfaces, which I will show you guys here at the end of the video. But just right out of the box, this thing is pretty much ready to go. And we're going to take a look and have some fun with it as we dive into it a little bit deeper. And this also supports Plex, Peacock, and many of your other streaming services out there, Hulu, Disney Plus. Pretty much whatever you have that you need to stream with this device, as well as looking up your additional videos in the household, this particular device can handle all of your multimedia services for online streaming within your house, and also business use as well. All right, so here we go with the full unboxing. I like to give all of my subscribers, and if you're new to the channel, a full all-out look on what your user experience, customer service would be like. I really love the packaging. I mean, enough can't be said about that. Love the wording, the personalization of this. You also get some stickers here included. We're gonna slap those on my computer whenever I get a chance, but I love it when companies provide that little extra, especially when you're paying top dollar for a high price or whatever for a particular unit. It just really shows that additional attention to detail. Here we go with an additional 12-volt adapter, and in this box you also get two different adapters. You get the European version as well as the American style plug-in. So for those of you who love to travel, they already come included with this, which is really nice because even though you're paying a little bit more money than compared to, let's say, maybe a Raspberry Pi or another type of device, they are giving you an all-out in one bundle. So you don't have to go out and pick up those additional odds and ends. And, you know, that's kind of irritating for a lot of people buying these things. And then you got to go ahead and piece together all these little accessories when you think they should just come with it. So, yeah, everything just kind of fits right there. So everything is travel size. We get into the Zima board itself. Again, this is the 832 model. I believe this has 8 gigs of RAM on this particular model. And it's just really nice and compact. I'll have a comparison at the end of this video, how this compares to some of the other media servers. But, you know, typically you are seeing a lot of these single board computers now come into the marketplace where a lot of people are using this as an additional option. All right, just one final look here before we take off the cellophane and really dig deep into this. You know, one of the important aspects about me doing an unboxing is just really getting into it. You know, I know it's really fun to start playing around with it, but I really enjoy the open box experience. There's really nothing like it. In fact, when I work on all of my projects, sometimes I take my time and, you know, do it a little bit slowly because that's, for me, that's just part of the enjoyment. You know, one of the things I can definitely say about this is it is very, very nicely packaged. Wow, I love this. This is nice. You know, when a company nicely packages their stuff, it really lets you know how much time and attention to detail they put behind it. There's not a lot of companies that do this. In fact, even have something like this that looks like you could buy it directly off of a shelf, but it's strictly a mail order service. There's definitely something to say about that. Now, I've never used this board before, and even though the company did send this over to me for a review, obviously these are going to be my own opinions and my own thoughts, but my first impressions is this is clean. Because I've gotten some stuff before from some people, and yeah, the box was all smashed up, whatever the case might have been. This thing is beefy. You know, I was expecting something a little bit smaller, maybe something along the lines of a Raspberry Pi, but no. This gives me the impressions that this is an absolute workhorse. And I was wondering how this was going to plug in. I haven't fully looked at everything, but as you can see here, you have your two SATA port drives, ports right there. On the back, we have two Ethernet ports, two USB 3.0, DC connection. I forget what this is. I think this is not FireWire, but this is I can't remember the name of this connection. This is nice. We've got a nice heatsink here, and just give you guys a quick size comparison. This is this is the ZimaBoard, and then here we have the Orange Pi 5. Orange Pi 5 is a pretty beefy single board computer, so you can just see what this looks like. I'll lay these down so you guys can get a better look at it. We have my Raspberry Pi 5. It's here in the case. You guys can have that. And then next to it, we also have another single board computer, the UE2 X1. So just so you guys have an idea of the size comparison, these are two of the leading single board computers out there in the market. You can see here that the Raspberry Pi 5 is a lot smaller compared to this. There we go. Again, this is more of a specific function for media and using it as a home server. So you guys can see it's a pretty nice size one here with the needed connections that you typically have on here. All right, so I wanted to give you guys another look here at the connections on this ZimaBoard. We have two SATA connectors here on the front of the board. And then of course over here we have two USB 3.0s, two Ethernet ports. We have our mini display port here as well as our DC input. And we have our PCIe slot right here. Now they have a number of different accessories that plug in here as well. You guys can check out that on their website and see what additional accessories that they do have available. But again, the reason why I like these devices is because 2 years ago, I finally invested in a home media server for the house. I have a NAS. You guys can check that out. And I wish I had invested in one of those years ago because I have multiple TVs, about 12 in the house. Most of them are smart televisions, and I would bounce back and forth just trying to watch my movies. And so I thought it would be fitting. I wish somebody really told me, you know, what would be the purpose of having a NAS. I mean, obviously I've known what they are, but I've never really used it for just watching the movies that I pretty much purchase online, and I could watch it on my different smart TVs. But this will be in addition to that here in the household. We're going to use these hard drives here for some additional media storage. You guys know I make a lot of content, specialized videos. We're going to load some movies up on this as well. But this will come in handy. I mean, this is low profile, shouldn't pull down a lot of power as some of the other media servers that are out there on the market. But again, this is low profile. It's not my other unit. I don't have it in front of me, but it's this big. Here, I'm gonna move this thing up so you guys can see it. But my hand is like this big compared to this. It's like 5 times the size of this, and definitely not the weight. But you know, the cool thing is, again, it's low profile. You could put it somewhere on your desk. It shouldn't pull down a lot of power, and it's discreet. I mean, it's not going to take up much room. The other one collects a lot of dust. I mean, it's great and it's enjoyable, but they're roughly the same relatively speed. And so this ZimaBoard is going to make a nice addition here in the Daikin household because we do a lot of media streaming. I have some other stuff that I need to set up here in the house. But if you don't have a media server, if you don't have a NAS, and if you're new, please do not let the description of this or anything fool you. I've had some other single board computers here on the channel, and some people felt intimidated. Do not let this intimidate you, even if you are a novice. If you are somebody who is you're computer literate, you understand technology, but you see something like this, good for your kids, good for if you have multiple smart TVs in your house or computers, and you want to be able to stream different movies, like say your digital libraries and whatnot, watch family home videos in your home. You want to have something like this, because I have a bunch of 65-inch TVs and I primarily use that because people don't want to watch your family videos on a cell phone. So I upload this to the server. We can obviously watch this any room in the house, network compatibility, watch all of your videos directly on your smart TVs. And it makes it really easy for everybody to kind of join in and share all the movies and not always have to be centered around a central PC in the household. That's the new day and age. And my personal philosophy is that every computer, I mean, besides having your smart TV, every TV should have some type of access to a home media service. You know, besides your Netflix and your basic Plexes and all that other stuff. You guys will enjoy it, especially when you look back on your family memories and want to quickly access them across the house. So let's go ahead and get this thing hooked up, and I will walk you guys through some of the processes, and I'll give you guys my final thoughts on how this is working out for me. All right, so now that we're logged into the ZimaBoard, the reason why I'm not using my screen capture, I'm actually recording from my cell phone right now, is for whatever apparent reason it doesn't work with my Elgato HD60. And so I've even reached out to the company that sent me over this unit for review. Still don't know why. I've plugged it in a number of couple of ways. I've even went into my display settings to see if there was something I could adjust. So as of right now, for this portion of this video, I'm recording from my cell phone, but it does not work with the capture card. I do not know why. Now, I do know there was another guy who used a capture card plugging it into the PCIe slot, but through my HDMI port, it's just not recognizing. So this is my first time using this nice operating system based on Debian. This is called Casa OS. And before we really get into it, let's just take a look around. We have the Casa OS desktop here on the left. And what I'll do is, because I can log into this remotely, I will screen capture that portion of it once we get that set up and installed. We have Firefox ESR, Evolution, Rhythmbox, LibreOffice Writer, Files, Software, Help, and we have Show Applications. And so these are the number of applications that are currently installed on here. We could kind of scroll down. In fact, let's kind of slow down a little bit. So we got our Solitaire and all these other applications you guys would typically be familiar with, you know, just some very basic light stuff. You got your sound recorder, you got a few games on here like your Minds and Reversi. Then we have our utilities, videos. So let's go to our system monitor. We can currently see what type of resources are being used. Everything there is very minimal, so let's go ahead and close this out. Let's go back to our activities. Let's go back to our applications. I think there was another type of resource monitor that, let's see, we got our advanced network setting. We're plugged in. I'm not hooked up or anything over Wi-Fi. But however, I did run a speed test on this, and I'm getting about 700 to almost a gigabyte worth of speed. Now, my home internet access here is about 500 down and about 20 megabytes, 22 megabytes upload. So apparently this device is giving me a better throughput in terms of download speed. So even on my regular computer and some of my other devices, I'm not getting that type of speed compared to this ZimaBoard. So that's another really interesting fact. All right, so now we're going to log in here to the Casa OS. We have our IP address, and then of course this allows us to remotely log in over a server. And I should already be set up here, but I'll go ahead and redo it. But let's go ahead and take a look again at our applications that are currently installed. We have our documents, we have everything that's already here, transmission, Mahong, we have some chess. So this is everything pretty much we need to get set up and running. All right, so now we are hooked into our Casa OS, and as you can see, we have the CPU usage. Right now we're getting 2.9 watts. We're at 36 degrees Celsius. And right now out of the RAM, we're only using 16%. So we're using 16% out of the 8 gigabytes, which is 7.62 gigabytes worth of RAM, which is available. Obviously, the rest of that is base for the OS. The storage device, we are currently using 27 gigabytes out of 27. Now, before you go ahead and get this set up, again, I have 2 SSD drives here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the settings. And in order to use this, you have to merge all of them over together Typically, when you guys go ahead and set this up, this will only be allocated for your eMMC. I'm not sure if all the other models from the ZimaBoard have the eMMC storage. However, with this particular brand or this particular model that they did send over to me, I have a 1 terabyte and a 250 hooked up. In order for everything to be seen, I had to migrate everything over so it could be read particularly as one drive. So here you have a 1 terabyte SSD, and then of course we have our 250 here and a 29 gigabyte. So again, you have to merge all of these over together in order for one of these devices to be used, because right now if I try to load something on here, it's only going to see the 29 gigabyte eMMC storage. All right, so we're going to go ahead and create a separate partition so everything can be merged over together. I really wonder why they decided to do it this way. So let's go ahead and merge storage, because we want to go ahead and create one drive. So once you format it, you'll then be able to go back in and select the drives you want. I could honestly do both of them, but just for the sake of this video, we'll only do the 1 terabyte, which is available to me. So now we're going to go ahead and merge them. All right, so pretty much we are now done. We are now formatted, so now we have that additional space that we could use for the system. So let's just take a look around. I want to show you guys all the pretty cool apps that you could download on here. This is a really nice interface. I really love it. So some of the ones that I definitely love to have are Jellyfin, which is really good to have. I even have this on my seed box as well as my other server as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do continue in the background. And as you can see our usage over here, we have our CPU usage. We're still at 40 degrees Celsius. Went up just a little bit because now there's some use. 70% resources and then 18% here on the RAM. Let's go ahead here and download another application. Let's see, we have Nextcloud, Home Assistant, we have Plex, Pi-hole. We definitely got to have some Plex on here. Let's see, we'll do this, continue in the background. And let's do Storage Manager. I'm not sure exactly which storage. I think it's going right here to the 1 terabyte as of right now. Let's see here. All right, everything is healthy. Everything's looking good. Let's jump on over here to the App Store. In fact, let me see if I can right click. Normally it gives you an option. Let's see, settings. Just want to see what drive this is defaulted down to. Okay. Everything looks good here so far. Let's go back to the App Store. Let's see, we have Unified Controller, Qubit Torrent. So if you need a good torrent, we'll just go ahead and install this as well. I use this occasionally. Continue in background. Let's see if there's a custom install here. I wonder if there's one. Okay, obviously there's not. I wish there was a button on here. There probably is. That would allow you to just kind of install all the recommended or needed apps. That way you don't have to click on each one by one. We definitely need file browser here. That's definitely mandatory for a system like this. Obviously that's just like your equivalent to your Windows Explorer that'll allow you to look at all the files that's on the device. And then let's click on MB. We definitely want that as well. That's another multimedia player, something I would highly recommend. Then we have our App Store here. And, you know, I've seen other reviews of the ZimaBoard, and I haven't seen too many people go through the full interface. But when I saw this, I was impressed and blown away. I mean, the luge. I mean, you don't see a lot of CasaOS, especially with this particular kind of board. I know it's been out for a little while, but, you know, it hasn't really been out in some of the other single board computers, but this is a really nice interface to be able to navigate around with. If you're not familiar with Linux, if you're just having a Windows-based background, this will get you up and running in no time. So if you're a novice, if you're not used to doing a lot of tinkering, but you're interested in getting a single board computer that will give you pretty much everything that you need, then this is really simple. This is not something where you have to log into a group, ask people for a bunch of help, and then get up and going. All right, here, so we have Radar. These are a lot of other apps here that manage your comic books and other books on file. We also have a speed test here. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at this. I think this is the speed test I ran before, and it gave me like 700 to about a gigabyte worth of data, and I don't even subscribe to that much. Okay, so it's installing the speed test. So we'll let that finish. And then of course we can install this here, synchronize your programs between multiple different devices. So let's go ahead and open up the speed test and see what our results would be. Let's go ahead and start. Wow, yeah, I don't pay for that kind of service. Mine is typically, even on my regular desktop, I get about 500 tops, maybe 450, 480, something of that nature. I am hardwired in, even when I do most of my speed tests. Oh, this is really impressive. I wish I could get this for gaming. 600 megs up. I definitely don't get that. That is sick. That is really, really nice. That's really impressive. I'm liking this. I'm really, really liking this. All right, so let's take a look at some of our other apps. So this is Plex. You can go ahead and log in here if you have an account. I have several accounts with Plex. I also have my media server here in the house, so I can get up and running with that as well. And then of course we have our file browser. So again, this will help manage everything on this. Now I can log into this through my desktop computer, which I do have next to me. I'm not going to go ahead and do it right now, but if I wanted to, I can log in remotely. You don't have to log in directly to this to control all your files, and it'll operate pretty much the same way. So when I log in remotely on my computer, it'll pull up this the same login screen. I'll see all the same apps. I'll see all the resource meter. I'll see the nice desktop background and everything there, and that'll be a pretty nice feature to have. So let me go ahead and close these out. That was there. We have our file browser. I don't have to log in for that. We also have Deluge. Now, if you guys are used to torrents and other files, Deluge just seems to be recommended as much faster than Qubit torrent, uTorrent, and some of the other torrent devices out there. I have seen even some people that have downloaded files from me recently. I've recommended Deluge, and they were downloading anywhere between 9 megabytes to about 30, and in some cases maybe 50, compared to Qubit torrent, maybe only getting maybe 2 megabytes per second. But all in all, I will have to say I really like this device. If you guys are looking for a single board computer for a home media server, then this should be on one of your type choices. Now make sure you guys like and subscribe to the video. I'll have some additional information in regards to this, but the links are included. I believe you can buy this on Amazon and directly from their store, and they'll ship it out pretty immediately. I believe they might be based in California. I know the shipping to me only took a few days. They may have different warehouses, you know, all throughout the states and maybe some other countries, but that was pretty much my experience when they shipped this to me. All right, so now we are switched over to the Casa OS front end. I'm using the screenshot or screen capture right now. I'm logged in remotely over using Google Chrome. So you just type in the IP address and type in your username and password, and we are logged in. So here we have our apps. We have our system usage at 64%, 35% on the round. We're gonna go in here and look at all the applications. Again, this is just pretty much everything that I covered already. It just allows you to see it a little bit better without it being blurry, because I couldn't screen capture it that way. We can still install some apps. We have our home assistant. You have a custom install process here, which allows you to type in a network and URL for a specified program that you want to install. Have all of our system settings as well as our widgets. As you can see here, this is our network storage, where again right now we have all these additional apps running in the background with Plex and File Browser. Right now we're at 88%, 89% on the CPU, 36% on the RAM, and so we're almost taxed out right now, but I'm not sure if we're getting the full burst limit, if this is 1.2 or the 2.0 gigahertz that the board can use right now. But 36% out of the RAM isn't too bad, so we're not running all the applications. We do have our storage devices. As you can see here, the storage device on the 1 terabyte is barely used at all. Out of the 1 terabyte, we have 47 gigabytes currently being used. Right now, we are going to take a look at our network status. Got some additional widgets here. Still installing some applications there. Really intuitive, nice and easy to kind of get around the OS here. You can click and move your apps around if you want to, of course, change some of the layout features. We have our time, status, storage, and network as well. And if we scroll up, I'm going to go ahead and look at our time and date. And then we have our additional apps here. We could go ahead and install some more. There's two different layouts here. You could do a custom install, which is what we're currently looking at. Or if you just do the regular install, you'll also see the applications that are already installed as a result of this tutorial. You have emulator.js. MB is already installed here. Deluge. If I want to type in my password, you could go ahead and do that. And Deluge is a much better download client than uTorrent or BitTorrent. In fact, if you're using a CBox or even a lot of the files that I've even used right now, that's pretty much the best option to go with. Clicking on the time and date will alternately will switch between the time and the date, as you guys can see right there. We have a terminal log. If you want to log in that way, you can do so. All right, so this is the Synology NAS server that I have here in the house. You guys saw this here on the channel a couple years ago, and this is the ZimaBoard. And so both of these basically do the same thing. The software is pretty much relatively the same. The only difference with this is this one supports, has an actual housing for the NAS drivers. Now, the purpose of me showing you guys this is this, for this reason. Look how dirty this thing gets. Now, I know I could clean this off. I have this mounted on a shelf here in the house, but look at the amount of dust and dirt that this can accumulate. This isn't going to have this kind of issue. So obviously I'm going to have to use some compressed air. This white stuff that you see here, that's all dirt. That's not how this should appear to be. There, you see that? It should come off. But again, these are some of the obvious differences. So here you have a small single board computer pretty much doing the same type of thing as this. However, because it's a smaller form factor, you won't have to worry about the dust collection like this. Now, if I wanted to clean this off, obviously I could just take a rag, just wipe it off as so. This is the heat sink. This thing does get a little bit hot, not too hot to touch, but it does get a little warm here on the top. And then of course this, when you open it up, you can see there's all that dirt inside. Now I have an 8 terabyte in here. Hard drive is a Seagate drive, really doesn't matter, but this can take a 3.5. Now you can hook up a 3.5 to this device as well, but again, look at the amount of dust it will collect over time. In fact, even when I've left it around for about 6 months, it still collects this type of dirt. You don't have to worry about this kind of device attracting that much attention. So these are just some added additional benefits to think about when you're getting something like this. We all know that dust kills electronics over time. Doesn't do it immediately, but it does affect the longevity of the device. And so once you guys actually see this, because this is a filthy mess, but again, it's not undoable, but those are pretty much some of the noticeable differences. Now, again, with this Synology, typically these run between 300 to about $500. So considering you're getting this for about $200 isn't so bad. It does pretty much the same exact thing. In fact, this one is much more powerful, has a better processor in it than this one. I bought this one from Newegg 2 years ago. I don't have the specs directly in front of me as of this moment. I know the processor on it is not as good, and just being able to pull up the movies that I've done so far in this video review, it performs much better. In fact, I've ran 3 or 4 videos on it. It doesn't slow down. There's no little choppiness. This one's okay, but there's just a little bit of slowdown. When I transfer files, it doesn't do it as fast as it does on this one. Even though I'm using an SSD, obviously you can hook up SSDs to this, of course. But again, the overall performance, the processing speed, I can promise you is much faster on this than it is on this, on the Synology, for the form factor. Now, there are additional 8-bay and 4-bay NAS servers that you can do, but again, you're going up to about $500 to $600 to get this kind of performance. So this is low profile. This is a little bit, you know, as what you would get on a NAS. Right now, this does do it for me. We have 8 terabytes in here. I'm going to expand this eventually. You can also clone this or to where it's a slave on this. You could also do that here on this device as well. But again, I just wanted to show you guys the differences as to what you're looking at, some of the additional pros and cons as to having the ZimaBoard. And so, yeah, you can expect to see more of this here in my household. All right, and to close this out, I know some of you had some questions about the emulation possibility on this ZimaBoard SBC. And contrary to popular belief, I know I've seen in some forums that this board is not capable or it does not really run emulation. So here we have Crysis on the PlayStation 2 running at full speed. I am using RetroPie X86. I know I still haven't debuted this yet here on the channel, but this is the RetroPie X86 version, which loads without an OS, running on the ZimaBoard at full speed. So I was able to play Crysis on here, as well as Tekken 5 runs pretty fluidly without any hiccups or issues. And so we do know at least up to PlayStation 2 will run effectively on this board, even though it isn't really geared for that. So just wanted to showcase that here on the channel. I definitely want to thank all of you for watching this lengthy video. I want it to be as detailed as possible. Please leave me a message or comment in the video below. If you want to purchase this item, you can find all the links in the description of this video as well. We'll be back more with some maybe more reviews about this board. Let me know if you have any concerns or any questions that you definitely wanted me to spotlight in regards to this. If you definitely want to subscribe to me or on Patreon, I do have a Patreon called kiodiekin, as well as a hobby group called kiodiekin as well. I also run a number of different forums, and you can also check out my affiliate YouTube channels with Kio Boom Daikin for fireworks, Kio RC Daikin if you're into RC and other drone related videos. But until next time, I will catch you guys later. Peace out. All have a great day. Bye bye.